Hola, soy Eric, y hablamos de ingeniería Apple. En el mundo del hardware, absolute control is the difference between being a mere device manufacturer and owning an ecosystem that sets its own rules of financial physics. Apple is not just a consumer brand, it is the undisputed master of supply chain optimization and value extraction per unit sold. As an engineering process analyst, I observe that its greatest triumph is not a specific product, but the operational architecture it has built over decades. The move to Apple Silicon has been, from a technical standpoint, the most brilliant strategic maneuver of the last decade. By removing dependence on third parties for the development of its processors, Apple not only improved the performance and thermal efficiency of its devices, but also eliminated latency in its own design cycles. They no longer wait for an external supplier to dictate what is possible, they define the roadmap according to their own integration needs. From a forensic perspective, Apple's financial health is almost legendary. The free cash flow they generate allows a level of experimentation and share buybacks that very few organizations can dream of. However, hardware is only the base of the pyramid. The true driver of its current valuation is the services margin, which exceeds 70%. It is a system designed for recurrence, the hardware attracts the user and the ecosystem retains them. While device revenues may show signs of saturation in mature markets, the monetization of the installed base through services guarantees a stability that any systems engineer would envy for its redundancy and predictability. Nevertheless, like any complex system, there are critical vulnerabilities. Dependence on the iPhone remains high, which represents a single point of failure if a massive disruption in demand occurs. In addition, the concentration of its manufacturing in specific regions of Asia introduces geopolitical risks that cannot be solved simply with a software update. The engineering of its supply chain is a monument to efficiency, but it is also a structure that requires constant vigilance in the face of regulatory changes, especially with regard to the App Store and antitrust laws. The company's future now centers on the technical viability of privately and locally integrated artificial intelligence, which they call Apple Intelligence. This is a heavy engineering bet. Processing advanced language models directly on the device, without compromising privacy or battery life, requires perfect coordination between the silicon and the operating system. If they manage to convince their user base that this is the next essential practical utility, they could trigger a massive hardware upgrade cycle that would revitalize their sales for several years. On the other hand, products such as Vision Pro show that Apple is willing to carry out costly experiments to find the next frontier of computing. Although mass adoption is still under evaluation, the company has the financial resources to iterate on the hardware until it reaches the functional perfection the market demands. Apple is often not the first to arrive at a new technology, but it is almost always the best at executing the final integration. Its success lies in an unrelenting discipline to focus on practical functionality for the user, backed by a balance sheet that gives it the luxury of patience. It is a machine of technical execution that understands that true innovation is not only about creating something new, but about making it work reliably at a global scale.